Hello, I'm Paul Wood, anxiety hypnotherapist. So for the next 2 minutes, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to explain, have your parents given you anxiety? If you suffer from social anxiety, chronic anxiety, an anxiety disorder, high anxiety, agoraphobia, emetophobia, so whatever it is in your life, have your parents caused this for you in your life? Now, in a one-word answer, yes. The reason for that is this, is that there's two types of parenting styles that can guarantee that you're going to cause your kids some level of anxiety or some level of not feeling emotionally balanced. The first is if your mother suffers from anxiety. If your mother suffers from anxiety or has an overly fearful worldview, it's almost guaranteed that if you have 2 to 3 children, one of them is going to have high levels of anxiety, struggle with anxiety, be overly nervous, overly introverted in some way for a period of their life. It's very frustrating, and often when mothers come and see me in their 40s and 50s, it's almost guaranteed that they'll send their children to come and see me at some point as well. Purely because if you love your mother, or if you feel any connection with your mother is the world when you're a child, and if they're the world, they fulfill everything for you. They fulfill your physical needs, your emotional needs, your mental needs, your cognitive needs, everything your mother does for you. And even if you don't like your mother growing up, it still creates a certain sense of reciprocity where you're very receptive and responsive to your mother. So unconsciously you copy her worldview. Unconsciously you copy physiologically how she carries herself. Unconsciously you copy how she perceives herself, how she perceives the world. And not only that as well, not only do you unconsciously copy these habits of your mother, but also, without meaning to, for you to be close and connected to your mother, is it easier to be like her or completely opposite to her? Obviously like her. So her giving you love and affection or withholding it, obviously she's going to give you more love and affection the more like her you are, or the more you share her model of the world. So the more she does that, the more reinforces the idea that if I'm this way, I'll get love, I'll get attention, I'll get affection, I'll be a good boy, I'll be a good girl. And it continues on and on in that direction. The other parenting style, which causes anxiety in young people and can give it to them for the rest of their life, is authoritarian parenting. Ha! Now what I mean by authoritarian parenting is when a parent thinks that the child should do what they're told. And it's the parent's job to tell the child, do what you're told. If you don't, I'll punish you. If you don't, you're bad. If I don't, you're wrong. Now just imagine for a second what this creates in a small child who has to rely completely on their parents for everything. Imagine like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. So frustrating, so frustrating. I see parents shout at them all the while. Now why do they shout at them? So the parent wants the child to do something, but why do they choose shouting? Let's think about this for a moment. They could choose 100 different conversational styles, couldn't they? 100 different communication styles, 100 different types of body language to come across in a certain way. Why do they choose shouting? The reason is this. There's 2 fears that you're born into this world with. The fear of heights and the fear of sudden loud noises. So any sudden loud noise and you expect physical death or physical pain. So you avoid loud noises. Loud noises trigger your nervous system, make you feel fearful and scared. Parents abuse this principle. It's so frustrating, isn't it? Parents abuse it, literally abuse it. That's what parents do, knowing this. The easiest way to manipulate and control your children over the short term is to raise your voice and speak to them in an angry way over the tiniest, smallest things. What does that do? Makes us react like this, and it makes us become obsessive about pleasing people, obsessive about doing what's right, obsessive about feeling, bad. And a good way to look at this, if it's a parent watching this video, is what people speak to their parents that way. What parents speak to their children that way the most. It's the worst people in society, the people whose children end up violent, the people whose children end up in jail, people whose children end up being murderers. Their children haven't not been shouted at, they've been shouted at the most. And look what it's done to them, it's destroyed them emotionally. So authoritarian parents, if you think it's okay that your child should do what they're told and do what you tell them, you're simply not being a parent. Your job as a parent is to put a supportive environment in place where you can meet your child's physical needs, which is guaranteed in the Western world nowadays, their emotional needs, pretty important, isn't it? Do you meet their emotional needs by shouting at them and telling them what to do? No. And their mental needs. It's incredibly important that you place a supportive environment that cares for all of these things. Now, what happens if you've had a parenting style where they've been particularly authoritative? Well, you've grown up feeling anxious your whole life. And the main problem with that is you don't see it as anxiety. Often people don't see it, they just see it as how they are. So you just see it, it's just how I am, because that's how I've always been. I was that way. I had really strict parents. And the double frustration is this: often strict authoritarian parents, quite successful. To the outside world, they're successful, wonderful people. But to us, they've made us emotionally completely messed up. Really frustrating, isn't it? Incredibly frustrating. So if your parents have followed one of those two parenting styles, maybe you've had an anxious parent, a fearful parent, worrying parent, especially your mother, it's more likely to have that impact on if it's your mother. Or you've had authoritative parents. So they've followed an authoritarian style of parenting where they made you feel guilty and bad if you don't do the silly things they ask you to do 24 hours a day. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. If parents knew how damaging this was to their children, they simply wouldn't do it. But parenting nowadays is more about what's easiest for the parent. So it's more about meeting the parent's needs and not the child's needs. So, for example, this morning, my daughter, 3 years old, offered her 5 different breakfasts, and she just screamed and shouted at me. And it's easy for me to say, you're bad, you're wrong, you're this. Go and sit in your room and punish her for that behaviour, which I was close to. But the truth is this. The truth is I don't know what's going on with her. She's 3 years old. She may feel ill. She may be in pain. She may be upset. She may be depressed. She may feel down. She could feel all kind of. She may be in some kind of feelings and emotional imbalance she doesn't even understand. She could have all different kinds of feelings. And she's not an adult. She can't say, I don't feel good enough, I'm not going to work. She can't say, I'm not feel good enough, I'm staying in bed. So we just have to trust our children. Trust that they know how they feel. Our job is to support them, to comfort them, to love them. That's our job. Not to ignore their needs and then punish them when they're clearly upset. It's completely bonkers, isn't it? Bonkers. So if you've grown up in that type of parenting environment, I feel sorry for you. It's shit, isn't it? It's a shitty start to life. And it's going to take some hard work to get your emotions back on track. So you can not only become anxiety free, but more importantly than that, shift some of the silly habits that it's created in your life. Really frustrating. It can create habits where you're an obsessive people pleaser. It can create habits where you're obsessively trying to avoid every single thing, and comfort becomes the most important thing in your life. It can create all kinds of silly habits that will hurt you, hurt your life, and completely mess up you having intimate, close relationships with people in the future. Now, if you like this video, please click like now. Please click like now, because often people don't. But if you did like it, please click like now. If you want to find out more, subscribe to my channel. Now it's August 2015, and every single week I'm going to put up at least 2 videos to really help you know specifically what you need to recover. I've looked on YouTube, and most of it's crap. Most of it's rubbish. Most of it doesn't really teach people what they need to know. It's either outdated, or it doesn't really show people what they specifically need to do for you. So it's look online, isn't it, and get some advice. But what do you really need to know? Now, when I had anxiety for over 10 years, I know as a fact now that if I had the same high, horrific, debilitating anxiety now, I could recover fairly quickly. Now, the reason for that is just knowledge. The reason for that is just because I know what to do now, and I've got the confidence to do it. Whereas before, I was completely blinkered. I thought it was me. I thought it was just how I was. I thought it was just there was something wrong with me as a person. And obviously, not my self-esteem, not my confidence, which in turn maintained the anxiety disorder. But it's not you. You have a problem that you need to fix so that you can move forward in your life and everything will be easier. I don't know how many people I see on a day-to-day basis that every single problem I can pinpoint down to their anxiety as being the main causal factor. Just imagine the difference without it. It's the most important thing in your life to recover from it now. So if you subscribe to my channel, I'm going to be there to help you every single step of the way so that you can make this transition as quickly as possible.